Okay, y'all. So before we dive into the practices of this course, I wanted to start with some tips for creating a self care space within your home. So, trying to find a space that you can go through these practices with, or at least start to take them into your daily routine, can be really helpful. So, my first tip is around lighting. So, trying to have soft and natural lighting in the space around you. And this can go for when we're especially when we're working either at home or at the office as well. Having windows, when possible, near you or even facing out towards a window can be really nice. Having lamps rather than overhead lighting, candles, or even salt lamps, which can create a nice lighting environment and also have a little bit of a calming effect on the nervous system. My second tip is around living things. So, trying to have plants in the space that you're practicing, animals when possible, whether that's fish or dogs, cats, anything kind of around you that will be supportive to you. This could be fresh flowers, and even trying to have open windows when possible so that you can hear the sounds of birds and nature outside and even feel the fresh air. My third tip is around sensory items. So, especially if you tend to lean towards more of the anxious side of the spectrum, having weighted items can be really helpful and have a calming or grounding effect on our nervous system. So, this could be palm pillows, which is what I'm holding in the photograph. It could be lap pillows or weighted blankets, which are going to be a little bit larger, or even sandbags that you can place on your body during these practices and during different tasks of the computer if you start to find yourself getting a little anxious or agitated. Fidget toys can also be helpful, so that might be Silly Putty or Fuzzy Tangle is another one of my favorites, just to have something to fidget with and move in your hands. Soft textures can also be helpful. So this might be like a beanie baby or something that has kind of a texture and a weight to it. It could be a soft blanket. Even thinking about your clothing, having soft clothes and comfortable clothes, especially during these practices, can be really helpful. My fourth tip is around pacing. So, really trying to take the time to settle in before each practice. So, sitting down and breathing for a moment, just getting comfortable. You might even press into your feet or into the seat of your chair, especially if you feel a little bit anxious or not very grounded before you begin. Remembering to slow down. So, there is no rush, just trying to take your time from practice to practice. This whole course is self paced, so really go at a pace that works for you. Trying to notice your sensations during the day. So if you could take a moment each day or as you're transitioning from one task to the other or one exercise or the other through this course and just notice the sensations around you, noticing what you're feeling in your body can really be supportive to inform you about what's happening in your world and what's happening within your body and your system. And trying to find a way to create rituals to start and end your day. There's some that we naturally will do, whether that's kind of our hygiene ritual or things that we do to wake up or unwind, and start to consider how some of these other practices can boost or support those rituals you might already have. Last tip that I'll give is around curiosity. So try to think about as you're going through this course for the first time, because you'll have this course and these exercises and videos for a lifetime. So as you're going through this, especially the first time, try to practice being a detective. So really getting curious as you're going through to notice which tools you really connect with, you find really supportive, and which ones you might not connect with as much. Kind of making a note because there is no one size fits all to anything, especially to healing. Curiosity and compassion are the best qualities that you can bring into these tools and these exercises to try to find what works for you without judgment, without pride, really just noticing as you move through. Any pose or practice can potentially be triggering. In particular, hip openers tend to have a lot of opportunity for things to rise up that we might have been ignoring or suppressing or just being held within the body. And depending on our life experiences, any practice, any pose has that potential to trigger, and any practice and any pose has the potential to support. So, really, again, understanding what works for you and not judging that, but embracing that and building off of it. And last thing is remembering that all of these practices, everything I bring into this course and everything that I teach is all by invitation. So you can choose to just kind of listen, watch, and observe, you can dive in and really practice for yourself. So doing what feels right to you, listening to yourself first, and what I embed in gets to come second. The last thing I'll speak to for this part is around integration. So this is a self-paced course. Most of the videos and exercises are between 2 and 20 minutes long. So trying to plug these in and taking the time to kind of digest each exercise and notice how everything's feeling for you so you know what to build on when you come back to it. And when you're trying to build a home practice, trying to find a place in your home to practice in your daily life. So a room, a corner of a room, a closet, a place on the porch, just somewhere that can become yours, a part of your office, a little spot for you. Begin to think about a time of day that works for your schedule to begin to implement these practices. So knowing if you're a morning person or a night owl, if middle of the day tends to be the hardest and you get really sleepy, if transitions tend to be challenging, which is true for a lot of us. So starting to think about when you can begin to explore and practice having a reminder on your phone, having it set in your calendar, whether that's a digital or a paper calendar, but really beginning to set up the option or the opportunity to create more self-care, which is a day-to-day basis, like a drop in the bucket, right? If we can just do a practice for 1 breath, 1 minute, 10 minutes, whatever we have, that starts to really fill our cup. So that whenever something unexpected happens, we are able to give from a fuller place and not feel like we're getting drained or burned out. And then finally, thinking about what can you interweave into your daily life. So whether that's sitting in a meeting, sitting in traffic, at the dinner table, while you're watching a show. So whenever there's times that you might not be able to stop and drop everything and do a full practice closing your eyes, how could you interweave it? You might be folding the laundry, and could you also do a breathing practice? Sitting in traffic or at the dinner table, in particular as we come closer to the holidays, it might be nice to do a brain game under the table just to help, kind of put our lid on or help ground our nervous system. And then what mindfulness exercises help to support us, help us to feel embodied, grounded, and resilient. So these are just a few tips to consider as we begin diving in deeper into the course. I hope you find them helpful.